have to reset it again. Oh, no.
We're already live.
Okay.
Awesome.
We could just
I
sit
love
for
it.
two. We
Cosmic
can,
program taking over referential plan.
absolutely. My friends, thanks all for being here today. I want to introduce to you a very close beloved of mine, a brother. We have walked in many worlds and many dimensions together. And this is Puma. He'll share his full name. And
Hello, my wonderful family, my global family. Hello, Satyan. You are a wonderful leader and you are a wonderful brother, and your family here in the Andes always sending love. So I will begin by passing all the love from our family here, from our community here in the Andes in Chinchero, Cusco. I am from Peru. I'm a medicine man in training since I was 6 years old. And in these times, we are offering everything that I have been trained for since I was a little boy. And my grandfather's main theme of medicine and healing that I was receiving training for was global healing. And right now we're going through a planetary process of transformation, of liberation, of awakening, of healing. So I am more than privileged and honored to be with you, my brother, in these times so that we can share this sacred medicine and wisdom from the Andes.
oh, my brother. So we've had some beautiful adventures. You know, when I've been to Peru many times now, for over 25 years, I've been coming, maybe 30 years now. It's a second spirit home for me. In fact, the whole world is a home for me. But I'm very
Thank
blessed to
you,
have a
Fredy.
very close uh, Peru has always called my heart. I went there with my brother, and when my children were just two babes in our arms on knapsacks. Myself, my wife,
Wow.
Suzanne, and my brother, we came many years back and we went on a spiritual adventure tour with no tethers. Whatever happens in a day flows. We were very blessed. And since then, it's called us. And then when I met you, I was very, very moved by your experiences that you shared about your grandfather being your teacher, your mentor. Would you be kind
Thank
enough to
you.
share one of your stories of your grandfather?
Grandfather was one of the last elders in my village to carry a lineage of thousands of years. It was passed on generation after generation. And interestingly enough, with my grandfather, it was already skipping one generation because his teacher was his grandmother and my teacher was my grandfather. So for some generations, it was already almost um, in getting lost because we had many of these elders that used to carry these lineages. It's all of the tradition in the Andes. It's an oral tradition. It's not written. It's not. There's no unless it's the symbolism and the heritage that our ancestors had left in the weavings, in the ceramics, on whole mountainsides, carvings on sacred shrines in stone. So basically, a lot of the legacy of our ancestors was passed on orally. And my grandfather was one of the last ones in my village to carry that those traditions. So blissfully, he was able to pass on all that tradition to me. And I am now making sure that it no longer skips tradition generations. So I'm passing it on to as many young people now that we can in our village. I'm passing it on in the family, within the family, to my children. Both of my sons are being trained in the arts of ceremony, rituals, having communion with Mother Earth, having communion with the cosmos and the universe, always being in ceremony with sacred time and sacred space, which is what all of these traditions were about. They were about being completely conscious and completely awake, and thanks to that, be of best service. as a steward and a guardian of life here on this planet, and also of our family and our community globally.
Beautiful. Beautiful. So, what a blessing to be able to be raised by a man of such wisdom and earth wisdom and cosmic wisdom. Can you share with us some of the teachings of your ways, of your understanding, and how it pertains to the time that we're in now, brother?
Um, we have first, what I want to share, my brother Satyan, is we have prophecies that told our community and our people about these times. But because a lot of these traditions were also kept in secret because of the Catholic Church, because of the persecution of other religious sects against our traditional practices, a lot of these traditions, prophecies, sacred knowledge was kept in secret. Nevertheless, it lived throughout the conquest 500 years ago, and now it's even more present because there's a lot of the young people throughout the communities in the Andes who are working on culture affirmation and re-strengthening their identity with the ancestral cultures of the Andes. So we knew from these ancient prophecies what times were coming for us. The main transition time was in synchronicity with the Mayan calendar around 2012 and 2013. That time we were completing thousands of years of a specific program that was there for humanity. And that program was for us that every time, every generation had to be less evolved than the last. So if we were to say that these prophecies were in sync with 2012 and 2013, which is when the Mayan calendar brings the new era, then we are the last generation of that unevolved humanity. And the reason why there was that program was because our ancestors, our ancient ones, once they were so evolved, so awake, and even in their evolution, there was also corruption. This is one of the things that our culture always speaks about. There is a high frequency energy and there is a low frequency energy. And it's like living with the day and the night. We just have to be in harmony while we are here on this earth to live with both. So the dark energies, the dark forces, corrupted some of the humanity back then, thousands of years ago. And in their evolution and with their advanced technology, they were actually putting the life of our planet in danger. And for that reason, that humanity had to be completely wiped off. And only some seeds were saved by the cosmic gardeners or star people and planted back, put back on the earth in different areas which is what we know, the seven rays, the lineage of the seven rays of the sun, seven rays, like the rays of the rainbow. And these seven human seeds of that ancestral culture were planted in different parts of our planet, so that now we have the most advanced civilizations in different parts of the planet. They're all belonging to this one origins, which is the light, while they will be as unique as each ray of the rainbow. So these people were responsible for protecting and looking after this new humanity who was not supposed to be as evolved anymore because they put the life, the vitality of our planet in danger. And that time was being completed just literally about 8 years ago in 2012. So from that time on, there is a process of transition to a new era, awakened consciousness, superior evolved beings of light who are capable of protecting life on our planet. And so we're within that cycle already, 8 years into it now. And in our prophecies, they speak that right after the transition occurs, there will be hard processes planetarily where there will be a reset of the mindset, a reset of perception, and a reset of the consciousness at a global level. So this is for us what is happening right now. The pandemic, the governments, the like a lot of people say, the 1% of people that have power on a planet who are supposedly making this happen are only instruments of this transition. What we believe is there are much higher forces, much more powerful and more intelligent and more conscious forces who are responsible for these traditions. And we, humanity, are not. We are going through the process of transition though, but we're not responsible for the process of transition. We are responsible for how we go through the transition. We're responsible for realizing and awakening our consciousness to prioritize our planet, to prioritize our well-being, to prioritize the love, the caring of family and community, which is our nature. The nature of humanity was always compassion, solidarity. The nature of humanity was always service. And that service of love has to become now unconditional. It was starting to become too limited, too conditioned. And for that reason, we need to reset in our consciousness these times. Another message of this new era and the prophecy of this new era is about our freedom, Satyan. Can you believe we took for granted our freedom?
Yes.
One of the things my grandfather used to say was, Puma, when you reach a time when you have no choice, be grateful. Because in that time, a higher force, a higher consciousness, a higher frequency is choosing for you. And that's what we call, what you have is a referential plan. And what humanity has is a referential plan. And what will take over always is cosmic program. So for us, it's a big blessing when all of a sudden we can't move because you have no choice. And it's the government, it's the people who are telling people stay at home so that you're safe. So for us, this is not a problem. It's actually a sign that a higher force is in charge. And this only happens though, if you didn't take your freedom for granted. If you take your freedom for granted, a lot of people are feeling challenged. All of a sudden, the most powerful gift with which we came, which is free will, and yet we can't use it. So this is for us a medicine. It's a sign that during these transitions, powerful forces are choosing for you. And if you were to doubt that, if you were to fear that, then you are allowing lower frequencies to choose for you. So you have to believe with your life that when you don't have a choice, is because a higher frequency is choosing for you. If you fear that, and if you doubt that that is not happening, then unfortunately, lower frequencies are choosing for you. So it's very important, even there, even when we have a chance where our process of life shows us that we have no choice, we have a choice.
Oh, thank you, my brother. You know, this is why I wore this today, and it was in honoring of the medicine of Peru. And we've experienced many journeys, and part of the work that we've been involved in is in certain times and occasions we take people to meet different plant teachers, plant and medicine teachers, and their wisdoms. And now this gateway is being far more open in the world. Accessibility, understanding, acceptance. It's starting to come out of obscurity into more popularity. And, you know, we've done it the old ways, right? With old masters. And
this is very important because every generation, the way we see the nature of life on our planet is every generation brings a new intelligence, brings a new way of life, a new technology, a new perspective, and with them a new era. So part of our work had to be a balance. Every medicine man, every high priest in the Andes was trained to maintain what we consider is alchemic, what we consider is essential to our way of life, so that with the experience of what processes we can go through in life, how many hardships we can um, literally survive from, we can be strong enough to protect the newer generations that may face vulnerable times themselves. So there had to be a very fine balance between keeping that ancestral backup, that ancestral support, while we had the Taripa y Pacha, which is something that I'm always fascinated about. That even though we're timeless and ancient, and we have that ancestral backup, at the same time, our people were very busy, constantly trying to catch up with the new generations, with the new order, with the new life. So a lot of times, our life was about catching up. Our life was about um, being in sync with the new life, with the new order, with the new generation. So that is what we're going through also at the same time right now. There's a lot of things that are happening on our planet with the new order, which we are constantly just catching up with. And that's also fun, while keeping balanced simultaneously the ancestral backup, the ancestral support, the ancestral essence.
yes, constant evolution, constant evolution, riding the wave of our opening and expansion.
For us, that is
How is my
called,
nephews and your wonderful wife and my brothers?
everybody's wonderful, Satien, our family here. We have a lot of vulnerable people here with this process. So one of the main and first steps of our government in Peru was to quarantine people right away as soon as the virus arrived. Nevertheless, it's moving very quickly and moving very fast within the population of our country. But in the area where we are at 13,000 feet above sea level. So at that altitude, there's a lot of people that say that this virus cannot survive, or the people here in this altitude are more capable or with a stronger immune system, specifically about breathing systems, that do not let this virus affect the body so much. Nevertheless, we had cases, but thank God they have been minimum. Nevertheless, we're protecting everybody who's vulnerable, because the health system in Peru, the health system of a third world country is not the best. Therefore, we really depend and we're conditioned on the care of the government and all these systems that protect our people, which I believe they have been doing an amazing job. Yeah.
Thank you, brother. Please give my love and our family's love to everyone. All right? Big hug. Yeah.
Likewise, my Satyan, we're
Yes.
always connected. We always believe that nothing happens outside of sacred time and sacred space. And for us, time and space are our cosmic parents. So every thousandth of a second is sacred and it's ceremony. So while we are in this life, every thousandth of a second, we're all together thanks to this time and space in sacred ceremony. So we're connected. There's no time we forget you, Satyen. There's no time um, we're not always honoring you and remembering you in our ceremonies. You're very dear to our family and very dear to me as a leader, as a master. So always have you in my heart, my brother.
Oh, it's time. When it's time, we're gonna come soon.
Yes.
Please share with us some of your favorite magical places of Peru.
We have here, the main place is the mountaintops, the glaciers. We go a lot to our sacred glaciers like Mount Salcantay, Mount Ausangate. They are powerful vortexes for us. And according to some traditions, every medicine man and medicine woman had to go to these places at least once in their lifetime in a pilgrimage. So one of the main rituals we have in life is to always be in pilgrimage, to give an offering of our life to these mountains. So there's definitely Machu Picchu, the crystal condor, some places like Machu Picchu and dozens more throughout Peru have been built like altars to the cosmos, to the universe, altars of Mother Earth, altars of awakening and healing for generations and generations to come. We live right in the just above the Sacred Valley, and the Sacred Valley area in Cusco is right beside the Eastern Cordillera, which is part of the longest chain of mountains on the planet, also considered by many cultures around the Americas as the spine backbone of Mother Earth. So we
Mm.
are right beside it in that area where we're experiencing the most sublime energy of Mother Earth, the sexual alchemy, the sexual energy. So that's why there's a lot of vibrant culture. There's a vibrant light in the people in this area, and
Yes.
also the reason why these ancient traditions survived. In 2007, Our Holiness Dalai Lama visited here, Cusco, and he said in a big gathering, in a big ceremony, he said, the energy of the Himalayas had moved to the Andes, and where it was male alchemy, by moving to the Andes, it became female. And it's interesting he said that because although we're not necessarily a matriarchal culture, we regard in a high frequency, in a high vibration, our Mother Earth, our Mother Moon, the sacred feminine. It's one of our main practices here. So wherever we are on the mountaintops, it's a sacred altar. It's a sacred shrine. Um, so we're always in ceremony and we're always pilgriming to the mountaintops because a lot of these places are places that you can't just drive into. Like the community is protected so well that you literally have to walk. And it's not easy to walk because we're talking about 16,000, 17,000 feet above sea level. So like, even if you're very strong and very fit, you give 10 steps and you have to take 3 breaths deeply, you know?
When they tell you in the steps are like this in Peru, it's flat. Peruvian flat means like this, like huge. One
Exactly.
step.
We always show it in an angle. Is this flat?
You know, Machu Picchu is a place that is legendary, of course. So many places there, but it's also very close to my heart. And it's been known to be a mystery school, a place of warriorship. It has many different ideas, different eras, times. Can you share about what it is and what it means on a spiritual level as well?
So Machu Picchu was built as an altar for Mount Salcantay, which is one of our two important glacier mountains that were considered important deities for the local people here for thousands of years. So Cusco, which is the main city, is an altar built in the shape of a puma. And there are three powerful animals that were existing for the people here, which is the puma, the serpent, and the condor.
Mhm.
And Cusco, being the navel of the world, was the Puma altar for another glacier mountain called Ausangate. So there you have the Puma. And for Salcantay, they built their altar in the shape of a condor, and that's Machu Picchu. And the serpent is this river that goes through the sacred valley known as the Urubamba River, Wilcamayu, which in a time of the year around the equinox, it aligns with the Milky Way.
Mm.
And because of that magic, it also represents the serpent. And in the dry season, like right now, this river is a serpentine green emerald color. And in the rainy season, it becomes this red, like vibrant serpent, which is representing Mother Earth is active and she's in her cycle. So Machu Picchu was for us this place which was regarded as very sacred and maybe even only accessible to the most privileged ones, only people who were of great service on this planet. Therefore, not everybody was allowed to come. And, condors are very sacred birds to us. They can fly up to 7,000 meters above sea level. And they believed if this bird can fly so high and literally disappear in the clouds above us, this must be the only being on the planet with the lightest heart of all beings on this planet.
Mm.
So people who have a light heart are people who have innocence, are people who have pure. People who have a light heart are people who love unconditionally, without judgments, without limitations, without protocols. So for that reason, they considered that Machu Picchu was only accessible for people who had to be in a pilgrimage, preparing themselves for many years, achieving that spiritual self-realization and awakening processes so that they could access Machu Picchu. Can you believe, Satyan, the only entrance to Machu Picchu, the official entrance, is known as the Sun Gate, the
Yes.
portal of the sun. And there is a time in December 21st in our, for us, summer solstice, for you, winter solstice, the sun rises specifically at that point where the sun portal is. So at sunrise, and while Machu Picchu is in the back, they used to receive thousands of people entering into Machu Picchu. So it wasn't like they could enter anytime. And when they were entering to this place, it was believed like they were coming from the sun, as they're children of the light or
Yeah.
actual suns, enlightened beings walking into this city. So for us in the Andes, self-realization and enlightenment was always about activating our heart. It was never about who knew more, who was like completely transcended all the limitations of the mind and became this fully awake or fully conscious being. No, it was about people who have managed to live the very nature we have as human beings, which is to love unconditionally and absolutely. And these people used to walk like actual suns into Machu Picchu. And
Oh,
while it's a condor, I can say also this is the place where a lot of people used to come and find liberation. Liberation from whatever limitations of this earth. People who, if you are an engineer, do not to have limitations of the mathematics or the formulas. If you are an architect, do not to have the limitations of the geometry. If you are a spiritual master, to not to have the limitations of this earth, so that you could be in a million places in 1,000th of a second, because this was the people that were privileged to enter to this place. So we believe nowadays that while thousands of people come to Machu Picchu, all of them and each one of them are fulfilling a dream. For some of them is a dream that they had a whole lifetime. But for us, they're self-realized, enlightened beings walking on this earth, being of best service. Yes.
Oh. For warrior sages here, this is a very powerful and potent time, as we've been sharing, to cultivate inner practices, inner fortitudes. What would be some very powerful ways of being and practices that you could offer for all of us?
Well, the first one always, Satyen, that comes from my heart always, is to love unconditionally. And that starts with yourself. To all my warrior sage brothers and sisters, the message of the Andes, of your brother here in the Andes, is love yourselves unconditionally. That will be reflected in your relationships with family, with community, with the planet, and of course also with your soulmate, with your twin flame. So do not measure the love that you receive, or how much, there's this thing, I can only take on so much. You're limiting yourself. You are not only the container, because you are also the conductor, you are also the channel for this love energy. So give yourself as much as you can. Be generous with yourself. This is the times in which, in order to be of great service on this planet, you need to take very good care of yourselves. Take care of your Puma, which is the physical body. Take care of your serpent, which is your inner world, your psychological, your emotional temple. Everything that has to do with that, with the feelings, with the sensations, everything that has to do with what you're thinking, what information you're allowing inside, what actually serves you and what doesn't, what is also manipulating your capacity to be of best service. That is being with the serpent. Taking good care of the serpent means taking good care of your psychological process and your emotional process. And you are condors because you come from divine origins, you come from the heavens. If you ask anybody in our mountain communities where we come from, the answer was always, we come from the stars and we are honorary guests on this planet. We are stellar beings who have here the gift of experiencing life. And while having that present of life from the Mother and Father God, our life has to be a present back, an offering to our family, to our community, to the planet. And that's why the main fundamental reason for us to be here is to be in service. But while we can be in service, my message again is take very good care of yourselves. Do not take on too much heavy energy and be struggling or having hard process. Take it easy, because this is the gentle process. Harder process could come. We always say, even if you're having the most difficult, hardest processes in life, always regard them as this is the gentle process. It could be harder. So that way, you're also ready to take on more. But before you do that, take very good care of yourselves. Take very good care of your physical body, of your mind, of your heart, of your spirit, of your connection to the divine, which is important, because the condor represents you are this spirit, you are this soul force, you are this essence of light here on this earth, coming from the farthest stars across the river of life, which is our galaxy. And we are in this stellar altar, which is our planet. And while life here is so fragile and it's so delicate, we were also sent to be stewards, guardians of life on this planet. That's why our nature is constantly to look after, to care, to watch over our family and our community. So before you do that, you have to take care of yourself. That's why you need to activate unconditional self-love first. And only then you will be of best service on this planet. Only then you will be the best guardian, you will be the best warrior, the best sage.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
Thank you, Puppy.
No.
And then
Yes, brother.
you also have to be free.
Yes.
You know, we have this sacred free will, and it is respected, it is honored, it's one of the most powerful forces that we are. So with that, we're co-creating life together. And with this free will, we must take it to its highest potential so that we can literally make things happen. Like, a lot of us are here on this planet to make things happen. Like, it couldn't happen if it wasn't for us.
Yes.
A lot of us are here to create, whether it's through art, whether it's through rituals, whether it's through ceremony, whether it's through preparing a meal, whether it's through designing, whether it's through building. A lot of our mission here is to make things happen. So for that, we need to re-strengthen our power of will. Once our will is to look after family, to look after community, to protect Mother Earth and life on this earth, nothing should tell us otherwise. Nothing like the process of doubt or fear should even come close to us. That is the power that we also need to activate, because there's a lot of vulnerable people, and I'm not saying vulnerable physically, but vulnerable emotionally and psychologically, who through stress, through worries, through fears, we can easily get limited and manipulated to not to activate the most powerful gift we have, which is free will.
Yes. This is the perfect time for us to find our free will, find where the attention of that has been bound, and to really contemplate, where is my attention? Where is my will? Is it in someone else's obligations? Is it in self-imposed obligations? Or is my will towards and generated and coming from my freedom? So really
For us, it's very easy, Satyan. We have a little formula. 50-50. 50% of life creation power is for you and for you only. And the other 50 is for the cosmic mother, cosmic father, for God, for the family, for the community, for Mother Earth. Like, it's shared throughout everything and everyone that exists with you.
beautiful.
But here's the cool part. You have a whole 50%.
Yes.
But a lot of people are not happy. Some people are control. Like, they love control. So they will want at least 80%. And they will only leave 20 to the divine. So what happens is, yes, they make things happen. They actually move because they're taking it on. Like, they can actually move masses. They have great power, but they're never happy with everything they've manifested, because it was always more than what they could hold in their hands.
Yes.
So they always need, like, they need to do something more. They always need to do something else. And they are never satisfied. They're never happy. And the reason is because they're out of balance. And there are people who are very lazy to take on more than 30, more than 20%. And they leave 80 to the divine, and they just hope that everybody else and everybody else will take care of them. But they have dreams and they have goals. but they never make it happen. They're doing everything that they can, and they're never reaching that point of satisfaction either, because they're also out of balance. They don't have their 50%. They only have less. So for that reason, for us, it's very easy. We need to constantly check where we are with these percentages. And it changes constantly, but we try to keep it in 50-50. But most of the time, especially now, a lot of people want to take on at least 80 or 90%.
This is beautiful. I love it. It's so simple. Feels so true. And it's something that I can self-navigate. We all can self-navigate within ourselves. You know, the balance between surrender and will, going
Yes.
after it and letting it go. My intention versus thy will, my will versus thy will. None of them have to fight with one another in this.
No, it's
They're part of the
50-50.
same whole.
But just for the fun of it, we always get into the fight because we can.
That's part of the free will, right?
Yes.
Where do you think we're heading? What are the prophecies? What do you where do you think we're heading as a civilization?
Awakening, evolution of consciousness, not other evolutions, but of consciousness first. I mean, it is unprecedented how all of a sudden, Satyen, we are now conscious of a global process. Like people who never cared about what's happening in the house of their neighbor now are very busy wondering what's happening with our neighbors. And our neighbors are no longer just our neighborhood, just our village, just our community, but it's the planet. Such a level of consciousness is very important, Satyen, because now we're aware, now we're conscious of a planetary process, of a global process, beyond borders, beyond races, beyond belief systems, beyond religions. People love each other. People are caring for each other. And some people are also, you know, fighting against each other. All of a sudden there's judgment. All of a sudden there is, that will also be always be there. But we're more conscious of a planetary community, of a planetary process. This is very important because we also expand our consciousness. We also expand how much we can reach. We also expand beyond language, beyond belief systems, how much we can actually reach people with just feeling love for them, or opening up your heart for all the love that it's out there. I mean, so fast, as soon as these pandemic situations began, there was so much fear and so much heavy energy produced globally that it was almost difficult to breathe. That was almost difficult to be. And immediately, right after that, also a lot of love was transmitted. People who would never be in ceremony, you know, with these technologies, started doing rituals, started sending prayers, started moving powerful forces towards family and community globally for healing, for awakening. So this is just a preparation for when we need to live every day at that level. We need to literally love every one of us in this planet. And that love of the planet will also come back to you. And this is only the first step, so that whenever we need to move massive forces towards protecting our planet, towards protecting the innocent, the vulnerable, like our children or our elders, it will be more efficient then. Because right now we could see how our science, our systems, supposedly even our evolved consciousness was supposed to take care of these processes, but we couldn't. All of a sudden, we were met with the situations that we have never contemplated before, and we didn't know how to manage. And if situations like this came back, which most likely will, we will be better prepared. We will be more conscious. We will be ready to protect and to look after our planet, our family, and our community in a better way. So these steps are only preparations towards this awakening, towards this self-realization. And it's not anymore only yourself, but it's yourself as the planet, it's yourself as a global family.
Yes.
This is the first step. And then according to our prophecies, we're entering, maybe our generations will no longer see it, but we're entering into the return of advanced technologies. We're looking into the return of advanced civilizations, highly evolved. Like, we will no longer be called spiritual leaders because that will be only one aspect of it. Our consciousness will be so evolved that it will just be like these light beings that just exist on this planet. These giant ones that had power over the elements, over the powerful forces of nature, so that we can bring in balance. Like, we can no longer be suffering from droughts or floodings, like people who will have more harmony over the elements so that they will also bring balance. And this is only important in order to bring balance to the chaos, to the pollution that we have created over the last years, especially over the last 100 years. Because just before these transition times came, that's when we also lost it. We started emanating so much more pollution in the air, in the ground, in our waters, in our planet, that it was faster and it got worse just in the last years. Now that this change process is coming and it's happening, then that is only for us to return to balance and take better care of our planet. And therefore, I love how everybody now prioritizes health. Forget about business, forget about studies, forget about anything. Everything is health, everything is well-being. And it's not just physical health, but emotional health, psychological health, good health. So this is wonderful, because our good health and our well-being is also the good health and the well-being of our Mother Earth.
Yes.
So new life, Satyan. New life
Paradox is that everyone, or people who care to, are learning about the immune system. And he never even knew what it was, how it worked, or any of it. And now that's what we hear about all day long. Whatever theories, this and this and this. But the idea is that we're understanding we actually have an immune system, and that all, and some are also getting that we are the microcosm of what's going on in the macrocosm. This earth.
Correct. We're not separate. We're not separate. I want to tell you one awesome story, Satyan. Just recently, somebody sent me these studies that they were doing that there's these, I don't even know how to call it because I don't know the medical terms very well. What I was told is that the llama, which is a cameloid that we have here in the Andes, has enough in its DNA, in its blood somewhere, that it can just boost your immune system so high that no viruses, and especially this virus that is very intelligent and is very clever, can survive. But here's the crazy part. While we could travel, my last travel before this quarantine began for us was to Ausangate Mountain, which is 3.5 hours southeast of our village. And in this mountain, we have an elder, Don Lucio, who raises the best quality of alpacas and llamas. And Don Lucio tells me, Puma, my grandmother told me once that if you drink the pee of the llama, you will never get sick. And I was like, well, we know urine is powerful medicine and we use it in our medical, especially of babies. Like we always say, babies' urine is very sacred medicine for problems with the stomach, all kinds of problems with the liver, the gallbladder, the colon. So when this elder told me that the pee of the llama is like the medicine for you to be Iron Man, so that nothing, no virus, nothing attacks you, it was so awesome because one of my intentions was, okay, we need to do it. We just need to do it. We need to program a ritual where we need to drink the llama's pee. And now they discovered that the llama carries the medicine against this virus. Isn't that cool, Satya?
Wow.
Our Mother Earth is always full of these medicines naturally. Like whenever you have a virus, whenever you have a bacteria that's attacking you, whenever you have some illness, the medicine is in your backyard, like right outside in nature. But because we lost so much contact, because we lost so much communion with Mother Earth and the plants and the animal medicines, we're also met with at a loss in these situations, no?
Yes.
But the medicine is right in our backyard.
Brother, I've so enjoyed your share today, and it's so filled with the richness, and strength, and clarity, and usability. I'm really appreciative. What's in your heart to share to complete with us today?
Just deep gratitude, Satyan. I am infinitely blessed that lately we have these powerful venues, like these technologies that are uniting people in incredible ways, breaking barriers of distance and borders and languages and all of that, that is opening up for us to share more. I mean, you're a master on this. I always love when you transmit your wisdom, your love, your powerful messages. And I used to think that was like out of our reach. Like I was very busy on the mountains and I could never sit in front of a computer or be able to be in this way with you in ceremony. But now I am so grateful that you're opening up this venue, this portal, so that we can reach to our family, to our community, to our warriors and sages throughout the planet. I'm just infinitely grateful, Satyan, to you for making these opportunities open.
Oh, my
With
friends, I'm
that, I will
so
complete.
grateful for all of you to come today. Puma, my love to the family, big hugs. And
Likewise, for our family there.
my friends, we're going to be going there and taking a group. And if there's any calling, just drop your name somewhere.
Yes. And we're going to drink the pee of the llama.
I was wondering why you look so smiling and shiny today.
We'll just tell you it's an herbal tea and you want it. No, just kidding. Just kidding. I would never give you anything without you knowing.
Thank you, my brother. All right.
Free will, remember?
Yes.
Love you, Satyan.
Love
Infinite gratitude, my love for our family and my love for all of our warrior sages in the planet. Your brother here in the Andes, always in ceremony with all of you.
you.
Thank you.